From the Siouxland News Studio, the Wayne State Basketball Coaches Show with Sports Director Jordan Furby.
And welcome into another edition of the Wayne State Coaches Show. We are joined by Wayne State men's head coach Brian Dolan. Coach, thanks for joining us this week.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Coach, last week, a split weekend for you guys. Talking about the Friday game against Minnesota Crookston, a 65-51 win for the Wildcats. Really a hard-fought win because you guys were down one at halftime, but then in the second half, you outscored them 37-22 and ended up getting the victory. Really a hard-fought win for the guys.
Yeah, I was really pleased with the guys' defensive effort from start to finish. I thought we guarded for 40 minutes, and we were a little flat in the first half offensively. Really couldn't find our rhythm, weren't making some open looks, and the second half we came out and we took advantage of some opportunities they gave us on the offensive end. Our defensive intensity stayed at the level it was at in the first half, and we pulled it out. I mean, it was a little bit closer probably than the score indicated, but it was a good win for our guys.
And another great effort from your senior leaders, Jared Bartling and Ryan Rolfson, both pitched in 15 points each. Really nice to see that senior leadership kind of continue to emerge as it has the last couple weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Jared's really just kind of coming into his own after being at South Dakota for the last couple of years and being a backup player there. He's getting used to getting a lot of minutes now, and he's flourishing into that five-man that we wanted to have. And Ryan, when Ryan makes shots, he's pretty good. He kept us in the game the first half, knocking down a couple open looks, and without him, we probably would have been down more than one at halftime. And again, those guys did a good job of keeping us around, and the guys came together in the second half and pulled it out.
Was that kind of the thing that stood out to you about this game, was just kind of how they kept you in the game, or what was maybe the one thing that maybe the turning point of the game was to kind of shift the momentum?
You know, we just kept grinding on them on the defensive end. We got a couple of easy buckets there second half. Dave Anderson had a nice shot fake for a baseline, a two-hand dunk on one of their guys that kind of got our guys motivated. But then Crookston did a very nice job of coming down and answering our first couple punches that we threw in the second half. And sometimes with an inexperienced team, when that happens, then tonight's just not our night. And our guys never hit that point. They just kept battling and kept throwing those punches in the second half and kept throwing those punches. And finally, I think about the 9.5 minute mark, maybe we landed a good one, and then we went on a little run there and separated us, got it out to 8-9 points, and kept it there the rest of the game. So I think just the consistency of the effort and the determination that we wanted it more than they did, and that's why we ended up with the win.
Yep, and that win got you guys to a 3-game winning streak. Unfortunately, the next night, you ran into a hot team. Bemidji State just kind of started from start to finish, just kind of took you guys out. 42-25 lead at halftime, 63% shooting in the first half. That's just kind of tough to stop. You kind of almost have to shake your head.
Well, they set a school record the night before. They shot 70% from the field against Augie and beat them by 20 plus.
So they had a hot weekend, I guess.
Yeah, they did. And they're a very good basketball team. They have a lot of talent, a lot of athletes. They've got some good shooters around them, and it didn't help that the first 5 possessions we gave up layups. You know, we just didn't have that same intensity in the first half that we had the whole game on the defensive end the night before. I thought at halftime, our guys kind of found them. I mean, they shot 47% from the field for the game. So when you shoot 63% in the first half and get them all the way down to 47, we just can't score enough points to catch up when we're down 20. We're just not an offensive juggernaut like that. We missed a lot of good looks throughout the entire game, plus we had 19 turnovers. So that's a bad formula for us. We're not going to win too many games if that's the situation. But I was pleased in the second half with the way we buckled down and guarded them and didn't just throw our hands up and say, okay, we're down 20, we're just going to quit. We didn't do that, so that's a good thing.
And looking at the box score from that game, Luong scored 13 points, and you got some big points from another freshman. All 3 of your freshmen have really contributed the last 2 weeks. Sadanovic, career-high 12 points in that game against Bemidji on Saturday. So good to see the output, I guess, from both of those players.
Yeah, Damian did a nice job. He's played well 2 of the last 3 games, and he's coming into his own a little bit as well. We know every night there's a different script when the game's going on. Friday night's always gonna be different. Saturday night, you're going to score points, but where those points are going to come from, and so you have to be ready when your number's called on you. And I think that's kind of what the freshmen are learning now, is that maybe I didn't play well Friday night, but I got another chance on Saturday night. Or maybe I didn't get the minutes Friday night that I wanted, but I'm going to get them on Saturday night. So keeping themselves mentally dialed in, it's a good thing.
And it seems like each game, each week, someone new almost is stepping up and kind of rising to the occasion, which is always good to see. You get that confidence kind of flowing.
Yeah, and that's the offense, the style that we play. It's kind of one of those deals where all 5 guys have the ability to have the ball each possession and have an opportunity to score if it presents itself, and you just got to take advantage of those opportunities. We're definitely, we're good when we have 3, 4, 5 guys floating around that 10-point mark, and I think Friday night we had 2 guys at 15 and a couple of guys at 9, and that's when we're good offensively. When we're not is when we only have 1 guy we got to rely on, which I felt like a little bit Saturday night. We had to ride Dooley a lot when we needed a buckets, and the diamond came through for us late. So we'll just continue to get better.
Absolutely. Well, the Cats are on the road tonight at Minnesota State Mankato, a top 25 matchup for them. We'll talk more about that matchup coming up next.
Siouxland News presents the Wayne State Coaches Show on Fox 44.
And welcome back to the Wayne State Coaches Show. We're here with head coach Brian Dolan. Wildcats on the road this week after having 2 home games last week. You guys were at Concordia St. Paul Friday night. Tonight, a big matchup against number 12 Minnesota State Mankato, a big, obviously, NSIC game for you guys, and tough game on the road going against the number 12 team in the nation.
Well, if you can't get excited about this, what can you get excited about?
Yeah.
You get a chance to play a nationally ranked team on their home floor, and it's a great venue to play in. You know, typically they have good crowds, you know, when school's in session and all those things, so it should be a great environment. We got to take advantage of that as kids. I mean, you don't get that opportunity. So they're very athletic, they're very skilled. They probably have the league's one, if not second best point guard. The big kid's a potential All-American, so we got our work cut out for us. But as we've gotten better over Christmas break, learning how to defend as a team, they saw us early in the year when we were still kind of doing things more individualistic, and now that we're more together, hopefully it's a little tougher for them to put the ball in the hole, and you know, we put up a little bit more resistance on the defensive end, and then offensively, again, we got to make some shots, and that's my biggest frustration when it's on the offensive end. It's just when we have open looks and we get ourselves, you know, where we want to be on the floor, then you got to make those plays. So when we do that, we're a pretty good basketball team, and you know, keep up that defensive intensity and make some shots on offense. Those are the big keys. And
as this team continues to grow, you mentioned that they saw you a little bit earlier in the year, but I think you'd probably be the first to say that you're a different team than maybe what you were at the start of the year. You've had great contributions from your seniors. I think bench and starters, you've had some great contributions. Freshmen coming off the bench, freshmen playing well. What's going to be kind of the style of play that we might see tonight in this game? We're
definitely coming a team that's got to control the tempo a little bit. We're not going to outrun anybody. We don't have the depth. We're down to 10 guys right now for the rest of the season. So we really got to, you know, control. If we thought this going into the Bemidji game as well last week. If we can keep it in the 60s, not because we want to, you know, slow it down, but that's just we got to play half-court basketball essentially. So if we can keep the game in the upper 60s, they're averaging 81 points a game, I believe. We got a chance. We got a chance. If it starts getting around that 73, 74, 75 mark, we're going to struggle. I just don't know if we can put up that many points, but you know, you never know. We get some hot shooting and get some turnovers on the defensive end and lead to some easy buckets, then you're getting around that 75, 80 point mark. So I think you're going to see from us the rest of the year is we're going to really have to make people work on their offensive end. We're really going to have to win games by getting stops and then just executing enough on offense that we can score more points than our opponent.
And I'm assuming, as always with coaches and in these big games, is good defense, lockdown defenders, you know, making sure that the shots fall. But it seems every game someone new has stepped up and kind of risen to the occasion, which is hopefully you can get that going for tonight's game.
Yeah, absolutely. As a whole, we need to shoot the ball better from the three-point line. We're not shooting it very well. We've gotten some good looks. We have good shooters on our team. For some reason, it's just going in and out. It's not because they're taking bad shots. It's not because they don't want to make them. You know, so I think we'll snap out of it. And if we snap out of it, I think we can, you know, be a solid team for the rest of the year and you know, compete for a good seed in the tournament. But we've got to figure that out. We gave them a couple of days off last week, so hopefully that maybe rested their legs a little bit. Maybe they'll be a little bit more fresh in the second half tonight on the Saturday night. But, you know, I'm happy with their effort, and we'll just keep plugging away.
What was kind of your message to the team throughout this week? Obviously, you came off, you know, a win and a loss from last week after having a 3-game winning streak. What was kind of the message to the team throughout this week that you've just been kind of the state of the team?
Yeah, stay the course. What got us that 3-game winning streak, and we really had won 4 out of 5 if you go back to the Concordia game before Christmas break. You know, you got to stay the course. We just looked a little different Saturday at shoot-around than we had been. We had a different look in our eye. Our mentality just wasn't what it had been. Our togetherness was very obvious to me the last 2 weeks, and it seemed like we were fraying a little bit on the weekend. So what got us to that point? And so we need to get back to that. We need to stay the course and understand that good things happen to us because we worked hard and we worked hard together. And good things will happen to us in the future if we continue to work hard and work hard together. So that's been our message all week, and you know, hopefully they've bought in, and you know, we see more consistent basketball out of us for the rest of the season.
Alrighty, well, the Wayne State men tip off tonight at Minnesota State, number 12 in the nation at 6 p.m. Coach, I want to wish you the best of luck, and we'll see you here in a couple breaks.
Appreciate that.
Alrighty, coming up next, we will talk with the women's head coach, Chris Keels and how the Wayne State women did over the past weekend. We'll see you after the break. And welcome back. We're now joined by Wayne State women's head coach, Chris Keels. Chris, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Coach, another great weekend for the women. 2-0 on the weekend. Now a 5-game winning streak for you girls. 16-1 and number 11 in the nation. Things have been going really well. Friday night, though, last week against Crookston, maybe a rough kind of win for you guys. 67-56 was the final, but just kind of a grind-out game, and you got the win, though. I guess that's all that really matters.
Yeah, you know, we've just found a way to win, and sometimes, you know, good teams have to be able to show that they can win ugly, and we just fought the game all night. We got to give Crookston a lot of credit. They gave us a really difficult defense to be able to handle if you can't hit shots, and we just we just had a hard time making shots. And when you go 4 for 24 from three-point range against a team that's giving you a zone almost the entire night, you're going to struggle offensively. And you know, I was really proud of our players down the stretch. Some of the biggest plays came on offensive rebounding. And we have really struggled offensive rebounding all year, and some of that is our style. You know, we want to make it very difficult for teams to beat us. So our defensive transition, we feel, is one of the better, if not the best in the league. If you're going to be great defensive transition, you're probably not going to be very good offensive rebounding. But our philosophy always is with offensive rebounding, when you got to have it, it's got to be there. And it was there on Friday night, and we generated 19 second chance points, and 12 of those came in the second half. And that probably really allowed us to win the game. And so, you know, extremely proud of our players' effort. And you know, some nights you're just not going to have your best, and we didn't on Friday night, but we still found a way to win the game, so we feel great about that.
Rebounding, you guys held the advantage 46-31. Ellen Hansen had a career-high 13 for you guys. It really was a nice respond because you took a 7-point lead into halftime, and then Crookston kind of answered with an 11-2, answered with a run of their own, but then you guys answered with another 11-2 run and then sink your free throws down the stretch. Like you said, sometimes good teams do have to win ugly.
Yeah, you know, they just wouldn't go away. We felt like we were doing enough in the second half to be able to maintain a lead and sustain our level of play, but they just seemed to always make a shot when they needed to stay in the game. And you know, Crookston's a good team that plays hard and really fights, and we just found a way. You know, we didn't rebound very well in the Mary game the previous week, and so we concentrated all week on getting better rebounding. We did a lot of drills with it and talked about it with our players a lot, and they responded well with it. And you know, again, the rebounding was probably the most important key to the game. So it was great to see our players respond that way.
Yeah, two players that played really well. Jordan Spencer, her 4th double-double of the season, 22 points, 13 rebounds, and Ashton Yoshi, 21 points. Those two players, I think, you know, got 2/3 of your points. So, I mean, they had a really great game and a nice to get that output from those two players.
Fortunately, those two players played great and really carried us. Unfortunately, our offensive balance wasn't very good, and that really put a lot of pressure on those two to be able to make plays. But, you know, again, great teams find ways to win games different ways, and our offensive balance and production from a lot of players has been a great strength and what has really carried us all year. That wasn't there on Friday, and we still found a way to win. So again, you know, good teams, great teams are going to win different ways, and that's what we were able to do on Friday.
And you guys bounced back Saturday, just a complete team effort. I mean, almost a completely different story from what Friday night was. 87-41 win over Bemidji State, 56 bench points. I don't know if could you ever foreseen that? You don't really hear of that many points coming off the bench, but it just shows kind of how deep this team really is.
Yeah, you know, we just talked about how great Jordan and Ashton played on Friday. Those two combined for 8 points on Saturday, and we had a dominant win on Saturday. I thought on Saturday we probably played as good as we had all year. Our defensive intensity on the outside and the pressure that we forced. We had 16 steals and forced 24 turnovers, which led to 27 points off of those turnovers. And you know, those were a lot of easy shots in transition that our defense created. And so our defense was just the best it had been all year. And offensively, we just got everybody involved and got everybody playing. And it was great to see our bench play the way they did, because I know they're capable of that. And you know, to see them respond that way is great for not only the present and the short term, but for the long-term future of our program, because a lot of those players are pretty young and have a lot of great basketball ahead of their career for us. And you know, it was great to see that.
And it was Jordan going off on Friday night, and then Jalen goes off for a career-high 24 points, 3 others in double figures. Like you said, just a really good team win, and good to see both of the Spencers doing pretty well on opposite nights.
Yeah, you know, I'm sure that was a neat thing for them. And we played them together on Saturday quite a bit, which we haven't played Jalen at the 5 a whole lot this year, so she's been more of the backup 4. But we played her at the 5 a lot on Saturday, and she responded great and played the best game that she has in a Wildcat uniform. And so, you know, we need to continue to explore playing her more at the 5 and see what kind of production she can give us on a day-to-day basis with that. But, you know, again, just overall, all 11 players that played just gave us something and really played at a high level, and it was great to see.
All right, well, the Wayne State women also on the road tonight in a top 25 showdown between the two teams. We'll talk more about their matchup with Minnesota State Mankato coming up after the break. And welcome back. We're joined by women's head coach Chris Keels. Chris, you guys on the road this weekend. You guys were at Concordia St. Paul last night, a big conference matchup for you guys there, and another big one tonight. You're going to be facing number 17 Minnesota State Mankato. They're right behind you in the conference. You guys are at 9-1 right now in the NSIC. They're right behind at 7-3. So really a big, obviously a top 25 matchup is anytime is a big showdown, but this is a lot of conference implications. You guys can further yourself with a big win tonight. Well,
you said it. You know, you win and you further your you further the separation there, and if you don't, then you tighten it up. And obviously you want to play well, you want to win, and you want to give yourself as much room between really good teams as possible. And Mankato is a great team, one of the best teams in the conference, but they're one of the better teams in the region too. So this time of year, you want to start to look at the NCAA tournament implications that you have each night when you play, and this one will have a lot at stake, and not just from the conference race, but for the regional race. So we know there's a lot at stake, and we need to be at our best tonight.
And anytime you're on the road, it's tough to win on the road, but going against a team of this caliber, that kind of steps it up a little bit too. What's going to be some of the things that the girls are going to need to do tonight to kind of get this win against Mankato?
Well, we talk about this a lot on those back-to-backs. We've got to settle in right early in the game and really be in a comfort zone and play at a high level. You say Minnesota State playing at home, they're one of the best teams in the country playing at home right now. They have like a 25-game home court winning streak, so it's difficult to win there, and a lot of teams have shown that they can't. We played them competitively there last year and had a shot to win it at the end and just couldn't find a way to make the plays down the stretch. So, we know that it's going to be a tight game, and we got to make sure that we minimize mistakes on both ends of the floor and just play a really complete basketball game. And we feel like we go out and play at a high level, defend them, don't leave open the perimeter. Those three balls have to be covered up, and offensively just get great ball movement and get everybody involved. We've proven all year that we've got a lot of players that can play and make a lot of plays, and so let's get everybody involved and just settle in and play and just have fun, relax. It is a big game, but one thing that has been neat about these players this year is they haven't put any pressure on themselves in these big games. They've just relaxed and gone out and have fun, and it's neat to coach a bunch of kids that really feel that way.
Well, it's fun too. I mean, we've kind of talked about this the last couple of weeks where you almost don't know who's going to step up and be the big scorer, but that is kind of a nice little crutch to fall back on, because on any given night, Jordan can go off, Jalen can go off, Ashton. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of all these girls that can really step up and play, and it's got to make you have a little less sleepless nights.
Yeah, for sure. I really have talked to him down the stretch of the season a lot that this is about us. If we just go out and play our best, I think it's going to be good enough. I just don't know who can beat us if we truly are at our best, and we have 11, 12 players that play the way they're capable of playing. It's you versus yourself. Just get in the comfort zone and play great. Now, it's never that simple. Great teams are going to force you to try to play poorly, and you realize that. But if we just relax and play at the level we're capable of playing, we feel like we're going to have a lot of success.
And that's always fun to watch down the stretch as we get closer and closer to tournament time too.
Well, you said it, how you just don't know who's going to step up. That's the neat thing about it, is just from a coach's standpoint, you know that you got a lot of players that can make a lot of plays, and that's a key to being successful deep into the season and playing into March. You've got to have a lot of balance, and you got to be able to have a lot of players that will step up, and we certainly have that.
Alrighty, well, both men and women will be placing Minnesota State Mankato tonight. We'll get both coaches' thoughts on the matchup with the Mavericks coming up after the break. And welcome back. Time now to get the coaches' three thoughts on tonight's game against Minnesota State Mankato. Chris, we'll start with you. You girls, the women tip off tonight at 4 p.m. Three biggest keys you are looking for to get this game. Obviously, a big top 25 showdown up there this evening.
Well, number one, like we said earlier, handle the back-to-back. Just settle in. We've got to make sure that they're a really streaky team, and they can go off for a lot of points in any particular moment. And so we've got to just make sure that we don't let those runs beat us and really sustain a high level from the start of the game to the end of the game. And then the other two and three is just minimize mistakes on both ends of the floor. Defensively, we've got to make sure that we defend Allie Wilkinson on the inside well, but we have to make sure that the perimeter is covered, and they've got a lot of shooters and a lot of playmakers, and we've got to really make sure that we're making it difficult for them to get shots that they want, and then defend those shots and then finish it with the rebounding. Rebounding is going to be a really important key as well. And offensively, on the offensive end, we've just got to make sure that we get great ball movement and we get everybody involved. They really like to pressure out, really like to force you into playing rushed and making difficult shots. And so, just settle in, move the ball, and get great shots. And then once we get those shots, we need to hit those shots like we have all year. So just play confident on both ends of the floor. And again, play with no pressure. Just play confident and go out and play.
Brian, same thing. Three things that you're going to try to do tonight against a tough Mankato team.
Yeah, I mean, same three we got about all the time. We've got to control the tempo. Like I said, we want to keep scoring down, try to maybe in the mid to upper 60s. We don't want it creeping into those mid 70s. Secondly, we got to have the defensive intensity level. I mean, we've got to make them earn their buckets, earn their shots, finish each possession with a good rebounding effort by all five guys. And then offensively, we're going to get open looks. We got to knock them down. I mean, it sounds pretty basic, sounds pretty simple, but trust me, it's not always that easy. So we'll worry about those three things probably the most of the rest of the season. But tonight they're going to be pretty big keys.
All right, well, the 11th ranked Wildcats tip off tonight against the 17th ranked Minnesota State women at 4 o'clock. The men will follow that against number 12 Minnesota State Mankato at 6 p.m. Coaches, I want to thank you for joining us and best of luck tonight.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
All
See
right,
you
that's
next
going
week.
to do it for the Wayne State Coaches Show. Thanks for joining us, and as always, go Cats. We'll see you next week.
This has been the Wayne State Coaches Show, presented by Siouxland News on Fox 44.